So you guys saw that, Carrie Fisher was like a hilarious person, and she wouldn't want something like this to be too sad and somber. I mean, she probably wouldn't want anyone to cry over her passing. She would want everyone to remember, all the funny things she did and all the good that she's done. But, it's going to be hard for any of us as Star Wars fans to not get a little teary-eyed over this. So, we'll just try to keep it as positive as we can. And, I'm sure you guys saw that where her ashes are preserved, they're in a giant Prozac pill. So she had a sense of humor. So I don't know if we want to just go around and you guys can either, if you met her, you can talk about that experience, or like a favorite tweet, a favorite story with her. Kind of just reminisce on how she impacted us personally, even though most of us probably never met her.
I can start. I never met Carrie, but what really stands out the most for me is her personality and the way she never backed down from anything. She was her true self. No matter what came her way, she faced it with her head up, and nobody put her down. I will miss her.
I actually met Carrie in 2015. I was brought up on Star Wars by my dad, so him and I drove to Indiana, and I think at like 4 in the morning, we got there at 7 to wait early for her. We had gotten in line about 3 hours before she was supposed to come out. She was late, as you would expect she would be. We were right at the front, and she came out with Carrie by her side and a glass of wine in her hand. And she came and sat, and I went up to get her autograph. The guy next to me told me, he was like, Jake, you signed Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia Organa. And when I went up there, she's like, I'm not signing Princess Leia. If you're here, you know who I am. So after she signed my autograph, she took glitter and rubbed it all over my head, literally baptized me. And my dad had asked, because he was in the line with me, so could you smear it on my head? And she got on her tippy toes and smeared it all over my bald head. And so the rest of the day at the con, we could see glitter go, you saw Carrie, didn't you? But I loved Carrie, just with having issues with my own mental health. She was really a role model in being able to see somebody so strong. And I very much am going to miss her.
Carrie was the reason, actually, I started costuming. My first costume was Leia. I loved the fact that she was strong. I always tell people, one of the reasons that I love doing what we all do is that I was talking with a little girl once, and I asked her who her favorite Star Wars character was, and she told me Princess Leia because she can do everything the boys can do. And that's what I loved about Leia, and what I loved about her is the fact that she was just no nonsense. She told you bluntly what she thought. She never tried to really hide anything. Actually, I think it was her mother. I saw an interview recently where her mother said, yeah, sometimes we just don't tell stuff to Carrie because we know it's going to be in a book or something. But I love that about her, and struggling, once again, I mean, like with my own mental health and such, and she just kind of gave me that strength to know I could just be myself and everything. And the way she wants to remember her, what was it? Drowned in moonlight, strangled by her own bra. That's what it is. And just one of my favorite tweets I had to screen capture was, if my life wasn't funny, it would just be true, and that's unacceptable. Great movie.
I never got to meet Carrie, and I'm very new into the cosplay. Brian has so graciously pushed me in with 2 feet. And growing up watching the movies, and she's very strong, she's very passionate. Even you can see when she's playing Leia in all of her aspects that she never let anybody tell her what to do. She was giving the directions, and she was very straightforward and very blunt and very honest. And I saw an interview. I actually got to meet Peter Mayhew, and so I saw an interview that he did recently about Carrie, and the pictures that they had and the relationship that they had together, and just being able to have somebody that you can look up to who has those strong bonds with other people and other characters in the same movie. It's very genuine to see how people really can be strong and how Carrie was very strong and very supportive of everyone around her, and she will definitely be missed by her.
Never got a chance to actually meet her. Deeply regret that now. But yeah, just the roles that she played in the movies, you know, to where no nonsense. This is what I want. I'm gonna go get it. I don't care what you tell me. I'm gonna go get it. And I like that she was bluntly honest. You know, everyone's gonna say, "Do I have to say this? Do I have to say this? Do I have to say it this way? Am I gonna offend anybody this way?" She goes, "I'm gonna tell you how I like it, and if you don't like it, tough." It was great, and I liked it when anytime I watched her in an interview talking about the movies and just how she articulated everything. You know, I was like, "This is what we did. We didn't know if it was going to work, but you know, we tried it and it worked." And one of my favorite lines when she had what was the name of George Lucas's Kennedy Center Award, and she got up and says, "George Lucas is a sadist." I went through everything, and I was like, "That's hysterical." You know, so. We'll definitely miss her, you know, definitely miss her portraying her character that she's very famous for. But they would, you know, all just miss her as a person. She was more than just Princess Leia.
I mean, I never got to meet her either. I suppose I admire her. She had a lot that she had to overcome in her life, and she just didn't take any shit from anybody.
Yeah, I'm really new to cosplay because this is the only thing my first year doing it. I brought the little Princess Leia doll over there, or action figure over there, because that's the 1973 when I was born. That was my 6th birthday cake topper. And I really have no other connections to Leia herself, but when I heard she died that night, I was kind of shocked just how much, because of everyone here, I knew how much she would and still does and will continue to make mean to everyone for their different things. To me, she's a very wonderful woman.
Well, I was pretty much raised as a toddler with the original Millennium Falcon and My Little Ponies. So my middle name is Leia, and she was always really a big part of my family in a weird kind of way. And it was one of the few ways I was able to actually connect with my parents with Star Wars because they were into drugs. And I got to meet her briefly at a con. I was too shy to really have a big interaction with her. I was just like, "Here's my thing," and run away. And but she was always hilarious. Her roast of George Lucas was hilarious. And it was probably one of my favorite roasts. And I will miss reading her tweets and looking at cute dog pictures a lot. And hopefully I can pass the name down through family line and keep it going.
You're next. Oh, come on. Well, I had the fortunate opportunity to meet her in 2015 at Indiana Comic Con. The funny part was this was kind of messed up. I got approved for MMCC that Thursday, and I was so thrilled for that. And then I found out she was going to town. I was like, "Screw work, I'm going to go do this." I called off work. Oh well. Sorry, it's Carrie Fisher. If you want to do something for Carrie, it's going to be meeting Carrie Fisher. So I have challenge points, and I go up to see her. She does the whole sparkle bomb thing like she did with everybody else, which was awesome. She got my helmet covered, and I was like, Carrie Fisher. I gave her a Mandalorian Merc coin from the Moon Clan, and she's like, "I know who you are. I've known for a week." I was like, "Oh crap." She knew. But afterwards we had drinks and we started talking, and much like everybody else with mental illnesses, she told me, and I told her, I'm an advocate for special needs. I have, mental illnesses, and we just kept on talking. And when she passed away, I honestly, her brother 2 days afterwards called me and emailed me and said, "Are you going to be able to go?" And I was like, "I need to know. I just need to know."
I gotta follow that.
Only you, Mark.
Well, my oldest brother was 15, 16. He wrote a love letter to Carrie Fisher.
Oh.
This is 78, 79. And you know, mail, sometimes you get the address wrong, and you do have a return address that came back. He didn't know that my parents got it. And read it. And it's say it for years was in how beautiful she was. He's now a pastor, a church pastor. So I wish I could find that letter and just have somebody read us one day in his church. But yeah, that was my. I never got to meet her. I did 2 or 3 days ago. We were watching something on DVR, catching up on shows, and she was going to be on the Late Show, the Colbert Letterman's old show, and it's all of a sudden Carrie Fisher will be on, and this was just before Thanksgiving, and it was like, whoa, that just is weird. It just hit that. We had to, of course, rewind and watch it. It was like, I never didn't get to see the interview. But, that was just really stuff like it hits you. You see things like that, and it'll be years that we'll see, especially this new movie coming out this December. It's going to be hard, and seeing her on Rogue One, it's good, but it's hard. It's hard. Life goes on, and she is way too young for it too. People, think, well, she's way too young. With her problems, it wasn't a real big shock to me. But it's still sad and a bad thing.
I never got to meet her either. I think I may have seen her at a celebration. Was that? No. I admired how she was an advocate for mental health and everything she's done over the years in that area. I have a whole lot to add that people have already said.
I'm about the same way. I admire someone who's strong enough to admit their own faults, both substance abuse and mental illness. It's something really to admire. But she's still our princess, so she'll still be on the screen to entertain us. You're on it.
I got to meet her. It wasn't by me trying to meet her. We had actually gone to Indiana, and we didn't know that she was there. And we had gone to, I forget which convention it was, but we were coming down the elevator, and she came in. The elevator was just really holy shit. It was Carrie Fisher. And she was like, oh my god, you're so adorable. You're fangirl, your tits off. Next thing I know, I'm getting a big kiss on the cheek of lipstick, and I'm getting smothered with glitter. And I think she really tried to blind me. But yeah, she was her. That was the best part about her.
I almost did got to meet Carrie Fisher. I was a vendor at Wizard World Chicago. She was right across the booth from me at visiting another vendor. Didn't get to see her. I was so mad about it. It's all Carrie Fisher. But Carrie was probably one of my biggest inspirations as a writer, an actress, accepting my own mental illness, realizing I'd be on medication for the rest of my life. Not meeting her, I think, is probably one of the biggest regrets right now in my life. Because I had so many chances, and I just never took advantage. But she's Carrie. So what else can you say about her?
I never got to meet Carrie either. I don't really have much to add besides what's already been said. I will miss her Twitter page. Her tweets were some of the greatest things ever.
Like most, I never got to meet Carrie either, and that's always going to be a regret of mine because she was always a wonderful lady. She touched me at a young age, because when I was brought up, most female roles were damsel in distress, and she showed that you could be more than that. And she may have been playing a character, but she always shined through. It was her that made that role so amazing. I love the fact that she was unapologetic about who she was, and that inspired a generation of leadership that you don't have to be ashamed of if you have problems, and inspires people to get help. I always just admired her. She was beautiful, as much clean as
I never got to meet Carrie, but I do remember watching 4, 5, and 6 when I was little with my dad, and like we were nearing the end of episode 6 after we had watched the other 2, and he was like, you know, you're a lot like Princess Leia, and I was like, you really think so? Because I thought she was, you know, kind of a cool character. He was like, yeah. He was like, you know, you're a leader. You know, you're really, you know, bullheaded. And you just kind of, you know, go after what you want. You'll, you know, and so that kind of has always stuck with me. You know, since I was little, I'm like, oh, my dad thinks I'm, you know, Princess Leia, which, you know, so I've always really liked the character because of that. And my mom, who hates Star Wars, loves Carrie Fisher as a person. So, you know, her and I would always talk about how great Carrie Fisher was, and every time we would go home, you know, we'd always talk about what Carrie's been up to, and we'd look at some of her tweets, and we were actually, I was actually at my parents' house when I found out that she had died, and my mom came into the room, and I was like, you know, trying not to bawl my eyes out, and she was just kind of sitting there waiting for me to say what was wrong, and I was like, Carrie's dead, and she was like, are you kidding me? So, I've been like kind of in a weird place, because I never met her, but both on screen and like in person, she meant a lot to me, because like other people in the room said, you know, like she's been very unapologetic about her mental illnesses, and, you know, seeing that kind of strength and seeing what someone who has those problems can accomplish is really inspirational for someone, you know, someone like me and someone like her. So, yeah, just overall, she's meant a lot to me as a, you know, personally. Yeah. Does anyone else have any other ideas or anything else that you want to contribute or?
Peter, maybe you said hashtag carry on.
Carry on.
She was a princess.
Yeah.
She wasn't in general. She was famous.
Mm-hmm.
That's all she was.
I wonder if she realizes just how much she means to like all the Star Wars fans. You know, like I don't think that she could have fathomed, you know, how heartbroken like this entire community of millions of people are over her passing.
She knows that. Wherever she is, she knows that.
That's probably why she put.
in heaven.
Yeah, well, she put her ashes in a giant Prozac pill and was just like, guys, it's okay. You know, like, she's trying to let us all know that it'll be okay. And, like, all of us and everyone who's ever met her and been influenced by her was going to carry on her spirit. So, she changed the world for the better. So, that's why we're all here. Yeah, exactly.
Anybody seen her in Drop Dead Fred?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, she's pretty good in that.
Or fanboy.
Oh, yeah.
Fanboy.
Yeah, she was
I
the
love
doctor in Fanboys, yeah.
Star Wars.
Or
Just the fact that she said it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back. Yeah.
I'm just hearing from Family Guy.
Oh god.
She was so awesome.
I was actually just watching an episode of Family Guy the other day, and they had just a really quick cameo from her, and I almost started bawling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Episode 8 is going to be hard for everyone, and like all the trailers, all the promotional stuff we're going to get. Every time everyone sees her, it's just going to be waterworks. Oh, I can't imagine. Like, I probably can't even go and see Rogue One again without like.
I did. Like, it was crazy. Me and my dad went to see it, and at the end, it was coming. I was like, okay, she's going to turn around. When she turned around, I like gasped, and I instantly started crying.
Yeah.
And like my dad, I looked over at him, and he's crying, and I'm just like, I wasn't expecting it. Just seeing her face, just it was hard.
Well, like, you guys want to go to the convention center to do the lightsaber Vigil? Raise your sabers, or we can just do it here by ourselves. I have one extra saber for some reason. Yeah, probably need to keep here.
A couple extra ones.
Yeah.
So you got the red ones. So you got your saber guy.
And thank you for everything.
For Karen.